Bethel Missionary Baptist Church, a mighty oak grows on the street corner of its Bethel Family Life Center as a powerful symbol of its spiritual growth, endurance, resilience, and fortitude. This mighty oak is a reminder of the seed that was planted, nurtured, and is still growing today in the Frenchtown community of Tallahassee, Florida. Much like a mighty oak growing from an acorn, Bethel Missionary Baptist Church was seeded from humble beginnings 144 years ago by Father James Page, a slave from Richmond City, Virginia. By late 1870, Bethel Missionary Baptist Church had opened its doors for worship with a congregation of some 200 men, women, and children.
When you think that during the time of the Emancipation Proclamation, when the word may have not gotten out that people were free, the gospel was being preached, and Reverend Page and others, had the fortitude to stand tall in this community.
At the turn of the century, Bethel required a larger church facility for a growing membership as it became deeply rooted in the lives of people who resided in the historic Frenchtown community. A new Bethel Baptist Church soon arose in the mid-70s as Reverend C.K. Steele and Reverend Herbert C. Alexander provided outstanding leadership in finding fertile ground from which to set a foundation of profound purpose.
A little bit of man used to pastor here named C.K. Steele. He opened up Tallahassee. It wasn't nobody in the cities, no state building. He got all the state building you see around here.
Today's structure on North Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard stands as a testament to the spirits of Reverend C.K. Steele, Reverend Herbert C. Alexander, and other beloved members who made this vision a reality.
The forefathers having the foresight, to see that this church could be impacted, and to have Reverend Holmes come on the scene in about 1986 when he came, and to have the vision, because most of the ministries that you see here now were planted under his administration, but with the foundation from the ministers that went before him.
Bethel Missionary Baptist Church has been blessed with the visionary leadership of Reverend Dr. R.B. Holmes Jr., who guided a pivotal decision to maintain and deeply embed the church in the Frenchtown community.
This was literally the ghetto. No one wanted to come in this part of Tallahassee. You had the highest prostitution rate, drugs, and crime. It was literally frightening and scary to be around here. We decided to stay downtown, and I said to them, listen guys, if we stay here, we need to control our destiny. We need to really build the community. Let's don't get caught up in building a big sanctuary on Sundays and forget about the folk Monday through Saturday. Let's really have a holistic, intentional ministry to transform this community.
The Bible says where there is no vision, the people perish. And to the extent that there is a vision, people flourish. And so Reverend Holmes has allowed for and has held up a community there in the corridor of Tennessee Street, Frenchtown area, the old traditional black community. He has held up, this church has held up a vision for improving and bettering the Frenchtown, Springfield area.
And we're so fortunate in my time to actually watch Reverend Holmes with such powerful skills that he has. It's not only about enhancing our church, but he's about promoting community development in our community and as well as international. So he's just an awesome leader.
The vision that Reverend Holmes has stated to us as church members has been very clear, very concise, and it's actually been executed very well.
He is probably the most brilliant, I would say the most productive minister who's ever graced the city of Tallahassee. And I know that he stands upon the shoulders of giants, but taking where those giants brought him, none have taken the resource base that Reverend Holmes has taken.
This church has a vision. You don't come in wondering, where is Bethel headed? Where are we going? Pastor Holmes spends, enough time before the Lord to have a vision for the church, and we take seriously outreach. That's why you see all of these buildings. These are geared toward communities, because we want the community to know that Bethel is here for them.
Part of Pastor Holmes's vision for Bethel is to make a significant impact within the community by branching out to strengthen, sustain, and save families. Pastor Holmes leads this congregation with a purposeful, practical, and prayerful approach to engaging the community through its ministries outside the church walls.
The overarching theme of Bethel is transforming the lives of people for the glory of God and for the good of the community. So we really believe that a church ought to be in the community, and if the church is in the community, the church ought to provide some of the social, spiritual, and economic and psychological needs of the people.
The thing I like about the ministry is they aren't enclosed in a box, but they work together for the glory of God, all of them. And the strength of one ministry, of course, is different from another, but we all have one purpose in mind, and that is to adhere to the vision of Bethel.
The ministries have had a very broad impact in a number of ways. Because we do go beyond the walls of the church and we are so involved in the community, we impact lives over and over again.
I had to learn what it meant to work in ministry, because this journey is not just about you, it's about serving others, being a servant while you're here. And so participating in the ministries, and of course the ministries that are dear to me are our young adult ministries and our healthcare ministries, but it lets me see that the work goes beyond just the four walls.
And it's all about strengthening and sustaining the families, because we feel that that's the only way that we're going to save our kids and save the society.
Services and programs extending their respective branches to meet the needs of children, the elderly, and entire family units are among the priorities of the church ministries.
Reverend Holmes had an idea. It was investing money and was talking about the need to keep vital this piece of dirt, and that it would have wholesome activities, that it would have service capacity, and that people could find the sustenance of life with which to go on from Monday to Saturday.
The whole idea of the Family Life Center was part of transitioning what they call Frenchtown community. And the church decided that if we're going to stay downtown, we had to buy the property and then build buildings and programs that give folk hope in the community. And literally, that's what we're doing. So this Family Life Center represents hope, it represents change, it represents opportunity. You bring in the young, the old, families here, single couples, running through this facility, beginning to get a good education, some training, and a sense of direction. Our Bethel Christian Academy was founded to help young people develop their moral strengths and academic excellence. We're thankful to the Bethel Church that the Bethel Christian Academy is still alive 23 years later. And the whole idea was to bring a school in the urban community in Tallahassee, Florida. And I'm blessed to be standing with some of our brightest and outstanding students anywhere on planet Earth. We go from pre-K to 5th grade, and we're so excited about our young scholars. We thought that let's organize our own Christian Academy, and let's give young boys and girls a first-hand, first-class education, and that would be with them forevermore. For 23 years, we've been turning out some of the best boys and girls anywhere on planet Earth. These boys and girls will learn how to read early, write, they learn the manners, they know how to say yes ma'am, please, thank you, may I. So they get a good education, but most importantly, we're teaching them values and manners. So we are very excited about Bethel Christian Academy, and we love our children, and we love our teachers. Boys and girls, this is the best school on planet what? Earth. Yeah, be said the best school on planet Earth. The C.K. Steele Leroy Collins Charter School is the oldest charter school in the state of Florida, and by the grace of God, we're still going 18 years later. This year, 2013, we transitioned the C.K. Steele Charter School into the AllMale Academy. So this year we have all men. We're working with young boys in middle school from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, trying to teach them ethics, because ethics is so important, and entrepreneurship, trying to teach them how to develop a trade, how to develop a career, how to use their hands and their mind to change America. It's a real statement about a church saying, give us our boys and we could turn them into gentlemen. And that is the idea. Give us our boys, we can educate them, empower them, enrich them, and encourage them to excel morally and academically.
Well, Still Collins has touched the educational foundation of Leon County. It's given some children, the children that have participated there have graduated that program, graduated high school and going on to graduate college. And so just to see those great things coming from the children that started at Still Collins Charter School is amazing.
It's a difficult thing for someone to take a Christian school and make it educational. You're not just learning the Bible, but learning stuff that you need in life. I mean, that's a great thing to have numerous students that I know personally who have been to BCA and Still Collins and have developed into predominant people in the community.
This is a Bethel subdivision that we call Carolina Oaks. This is a first-time homeowner neighborhood where the church brought together through leadership of one of my lawyers, Harold Knowles, and one of our business developers, Keith Bowers. We brought together a committee to help restore this neighborhood by bringing in first-time homeowners. We have lawyers live here, doctors, professors, police officers, engineers. It is a multicultural, very diverse community where people just enjoy the neighborhood, and people came in here, the church bought the property, helped folk to get on their feet, and now this is a first-class neighborhood. And so we just felt that when you're doing community development, you must have housing. This has been a tremendous blessing, because now you have close to 40, 45 first-time homeowners now in a thriving neighborhood where they own the dirt, own the land, have real equity. And so this is a very exciting phase of Bethel's overall community development.
I no longer see the beer bottles on the street, blighted area, people along the street doing whatever. So I feel proud when I drive down the street and I see the new houses, the Carolina Oaks. I see people walking their dogs, pushing their children in the strollers. You know, I feel that it's safe. Bethel Baptist Church had a large part of revitalizing this area, and I'm just proud to have been a member of the church when all of this took place.
Bethel Baptist is one of the pivotal churches, not just in this Frenchtown area, but in this community, because they are on, I call it the cutting edge of trying to help the community revitalize itself.
A lot of our ministries deal with the health disparities that exist in our community. With Deca Towers, I can take for example, we're providing a needed service and housing for our senior citizens.
Deca Towers is a really a facility, a home for senior citizens. We did not want to build a warehouse. We didn't want to institutionalize senior citizens. We want them to be in a place that feels like home. It is a sense of place. It is a sense of spirit. It is a sense of joy. And so our residents feel like this is home. It feels like home. It looks like home. And the people treat them like they are neighbors and they are part of a real big loving family. That is Deca Towers.
I feel real good about Deca Towers. I enjoy living here, and I love the neighbors, and I love the place, and I enjoy working down there at the desk. So it's good to be here.
This has been my home for almost 3 years now, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
This is the Bethel Family Counseling and Mental Health Clinic. Again, we believe in holistic ministry, the mind, body, and spirit. And this counseling center, is staffed by psychiatrists and psychologists and social workers to provide a quality mental health service.
We are here to provide services for all clients, all creeds, nationalities, whomever needs those services, whether it's for mental health services or substance abuse. That's why we're here, and we're here to help.
And so we want to encourage our people and all people, you know, to get the necessary mental health that you need to be stable and healthy. This building is being dedicated to the veterans as we try to hopefully to counsel and help veterans to find their sense of place, because they gave their lives, sacrificed their lives for us.
In most churches, at least that I have attended, after I left the military, there was not an emphasis on, you know, the military veterans, and the pastor, you know, saw a need for that ministry because we have significant members that are veterans in our congregation, and so it took him on himself to actually start a military veterans ministry.
In this community, we have to bring in an economic development engine and help folk to redevelop their credit, but most importantly, you know, help them to be able to bank in their community, our seniors, our students, our parents, our neighbors. So we will have the Bethel Credit Union up and running. We already have the office, the designated, have all the equipment in here for the credit union to start the first sound, stable financial institution in this place called Frenchtown, where there are no real financial institutions in this neighborhood. We bought this facility, I think, about 18 years ago, and it was Bethel Restaurant, and we now lease it out to Broadway Grill. It is a great partnership, it's a joint venture, but the bottom line is we want to show people in this community that economics does matter. We're glad to have businesses who come in and run a quality, clean business.
As with all things that are firmly rooted and nurtured, come blossoming testimonies of self-empowerment, community engagement, personal responsibility, and moral development.
We had one young lady who came for an event, and she talked about how she came through both the elementary academy as well as the middle school. And she's now in high school, and she's in a special program where she will have a pathway into college. And she talked about how the values of teamwork and cooperation and focus and hard work were instilled during her time in elementary as well as in the Steele Collins middle schools.
I had an interest in medicine from a child, and Steele Collins helped facilitate that as well. When I expressed my interest in medicine to my teachers, they paired me up with a physician in the community, Dr. Baker. And now I look back and I smile because they really shaped and formed who I am today, and they helped me grow as a person.
I really developed not only as a minister here, but I developed as a man here. You know, watching my pastor. He's the type of guy who he doesn't say too much to us, but he leads by the example.
With our pastor having such a big and broad vision, he has taught me to give back to my community, and with me giving back to my community, it not only helped me, but it helped me to help others. I started my own Stock Out Diabetes initiative just to give back to my community and show them, you know, this is what I'm learning in church.
I was in a low place. I was grieving the loss of my mother, and I would visit the church a lot because I was observing that Bethel offered a safe and supportive place for me to be in that enabled me to heal. Immediately I got involved in the ministries, and I just forgot about self. And it's still been that safe and reliable environment for me to grow.
Bethel Missionary Baptist Church reinforces its vision with their many collaborative partnerships across the Tallahassee area. From public to private sector organizations, their influence upon the community spreads like the canopy of the mighty oak.
The city is very engaged. You see the Heritage Trail is in place. You have hotels saying if you want to see where revitalization is taking place, you know, just go right down the streets from the Duval Hotel. They send people here. We get bus tours.
Bethel is a very, very important part as well as a very important partner in this community as far as the education of our young people.
We're trying to touch all bases, and I think it starts with understanding what your strengths are as a church, looking at ways in which you can find small tasks that you can be successful at in terms of connecting with the community.
While Bethel's light on the surrounding community is bright, their scope on the future is to spread this illuminated response further across the state and even across the nation, thus entwining its roots in the lives of people and embedding new seeds of hope all along the way.
Once you cross Martin Luther King Boulevard, you see, you feel, you witness a vision that has not gone stale, but has prospered, and it's affecting the entire community.
What this church has saved are many, many lives, many jobs.
All of you should know by now that Pastor Holmes' vision takes us across the state of Florida and then across the nation.
And our church continues to thrive under Reverend Holmes' leadership. I mean, there's a lot that we have done through his vision, and there's a lot more to come, I promise you. A lot more to come.